say like I'm a thick bitch, like a bitch with her own shit. I ain't never been a broke bitch, I been having motion. 5 stars if it's toasting, I been on some 3 or 4 shit. And I like my head slow, sloppy, shaky, leaky. It's getting loud, gotta take it easy. Gushy, soaking, freaky, deaky. Got that no call ID me. First he sent the car to pick me up. Girl, why that nigga flew me private? Hopped off, then he took me shopping. Next thing you know, we was laying on an island. I froze my neck like...
What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, what's up? My name is Lorraine and welcome to my channel. I am so happy to be back posting on YouTube. I'm gonna try and remain consistent this time. Can you believe I haven't posted a video in like over a year? I'm glad to be back, to say the least, and I'm back with a life update / birth story. Yes, I am a mother to a beautiful 4-month-old infant. Her name is Aiko, and it's been life-changing, it's been beautiful, it's been challenging, it's been crazy, but mostly it's been joyous. So let's get into this video and I'll like update you on what's happened and how my birth went. I gave birth to a whole human being. I'll start off by talking about how I found out I was pregnant and my reaction. So it was the old-fashioned way. My period just never came and I was like, and thing is like that's happened to me sometimes, but like if it's longer than 3 or 4 days, something is up. And you know your body. You're very, as a woman, I feel like we're all in tune with our bodies. So something I felt different, and I was like, I think this might be it. This is not a scare anymore. I think this might be it. Anyway, I went to my friend Natasha's house. We were there chatting and I'm telling her, girl, I think like my period's nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. Poof, gone. Where is it? And she's like, girl, I got a pregnancy test I can give you. Here you go. So the next morning I took it. I took the pregnancy test and right away it said, girl, you're pregnant. You are with child. And I looked at her, I was like, yep, I kind of knew it. But I was like, it was a very like weird moment. I did it in the morning. Jerry was still sleeping. He had no idea I was taking the test. I jumped back into bed and I hand him the test. And his immediate reaction was just to hug me and be like, you know, everything's gonna be okay. I'm here for you. Excitement as well, happiness as well. So that reaction was very reassuring. So that was really lovely. Especially because I was acting crazy as I was putting Jerry through a lot in the last few days leading up to me finding out, or the last few weeks. I was going through it, child. It was a lot. So it was really beautiful for him to embrace me like that when I found out. But obviously went to the doctor, did the whole thing, confirmed it, and they said, yeah, girl, you are with child. This is how far along you are, you know, all of that. As the days went along, I think I just started, the weight of it and the reality of it started coming in, right? I mean, we all know a child is a lifetime commitment, baby, like, you know, and I think that started coming in, and I naturally was petrified. I was so scared, I was nervous, and also like with the pregnancy hormones, like my emotions were all over the place. But I do want to mention the first trimester of pregnancy, I don't know about any of y'all, but for me, I describe it as a fresh hell. A fresh hell, because like your body just, I don't know, I feel like it's just, your body goes through it, your emotions go through it, mentally you're going through it, the people, like your partner, well in this case my partner, I put him through it, like, because my emotions were all over the place. I'd cry, I'd be happy, I'd be emotional, I'd be angry, it was a lot, and I was exhausted all the time. I felt sick all the time, and I never wanted to eat, but I had to eat in order to not feel sick. It was, I'm gonna say this, pregnancy is ghetto. Pregnancy is ghetto as hell.
The ghetto! The ghetto!
I'm sorry, making a child is intense, man. As it should be, because I mean, you are growing a whole human being, so you can imagine it would take a lot physically to do that. But once you're in it and you're experiencing it, like, it's one thing to know about it and like hear about it and people talk about it, but being in it and like experiencing it is a whole other different ball game, because you're like, wow, like my body is going through it. This is a lot, and I still have 9 months to go. Crazy. But all in all, my pregnancy, I had a really lovely pregnancy. Jerry's parents really emphasized and you know, spoke about how important it was for me to have a stress-free and anxiety-free pregnancy. Like obviously day-to-day stresses and anxieties are like all right, but like, you know, anything heavy I should like avoid. And it was so funny. Jerry's mom was like, Lorraine, you better take care of Lorraine, make sure you don't stress her. You know, it was just that throughout my whole pregnancy was emphasized, which was really lovely. And I think I was blessed to have such a stress-free pregnancy and such a lovely, very chill pregnancy. I mean, I feel like I slept most of the time if I wasn't working. I was on the couch, I was with my friends, like I was just very relaxed. And you know, I intentionally wanted to be like that. I said that to say this: I had a really lovely pregnancy. I was surrounded by so much love, so much support from my friends and my partner, especially like living away from home. My parents, my family are all the way in South Africa, so I'm here by myself. And unfortunately, I went through that period without my mother, and that was so hard. I really missed her a lot, and I felt like in that type of period, like a woman wants to be around, you know, maternal figures. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But it was fine. Let's get into my birth. Okay, let me see. Where do I start? I remember it was a Sunday. It was the 21st of August, Sunday. That day I had seen my friend Lisa. And I remember telling her, I'm like, girl, I think it's gonna happen today. Like, I feel different. I feel weird. I feel like contractions. I was having Braxton Hicks contractions. But I had been having them for a while. But like, there was just something about that day. I was like, it's going to happen today. She was very calm. Lisa is a very like calm energy to be around, a very loving energy to be around, a very supportive energy to be around, and she just served me all of that. And it was so funny. We were at the cafe, and I was wearing jeans that I hadn't buttoned up, and I did not care. I was like, how am I gonna button them up? So my belly was hanging out, and I had this crop top on. Child, if I have a picture, I'll put it up. Mess. And like, I was just like waddling everywhere. The third trimester is also insane because you're just waddling everywhere, and you're just like this fragile thing. That night, Jerry and I shower. We do, face masks, and we just chill on the bed for a while and watch some Family Guy. Now, as I'm trying to get into bed and like relax and wind down and like fall asleep, I'm like, these Braxton Hicks on, you know, Braxton Hicks, they're starting to get a bit more serious, right? I'm like, Jerry, I'm like in a bit of pain right now. And he's like, okay, all right. So in true Jerry fashion, rather, the man falls asleep, passes out. And I was like, fine, okay, cool. It's cool, he can pass out, because I feel like we have like a long day or a long few days ahead of us. So let him rest and do his thing. Now, as he falls asleep, the contractions just started getting worse. Oh, before he actually fell asleep, we called Royal Women's Hospital and we're like, hey, this is what's happening. And they asked us to start timing the contractions. And once they got to a certain point, that's when we could come in. At this point, I'm up, Jerry's sleeping, and I'm like going through it. This is about at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in that time frame. I am going through it. Like, and I was sitting there, I'm like, if these are early contractions, if this is early labor, bitch, what the hell is active labor? Like, what am I gonna be going through when, like, you know, the actual show starts? I was like, yo, I'm already in a lot of pain. And the thing is, side note, I always had painful periods, right? Extremely painful. Like, Nurofen doesn't cut it. I have to get like strong painkillers. Otherwise, like, I'm on the floor crawling, begging for my life. So I was like, I thought that would have kind of prepared me. Child, it didn't prepare me for nothing. I was still on the floor begging for my life. Let me get back to the story. Start timing them. Safe to say that night, I did not sleep. I did not sleep at all. I was on my birthing ball, the gym ball, bouncing on the gym ball, then into the shower, then on the couch. I just kept moving. Because, it was helping distract from the pain, even though I was still in a lot of pain. Morning comes, Jerry wakes up, still in the same position, still not time for me to go to the hospital because they're not close together yet. We come up with this idea because me going into the shower and having warm water run on my back was helping a lot. So we're like, okay, hot water bottle, but we didn't have one. So we make a makeshift one, like out of like a water bottle that we use. And, side note, like, it was like, it's something I've done before, so I thought it was all right, cool. We use it, it's helping, it's doing as much as it could, right? Cool, we keep refilling it, you know, whatever. And then at some point we refilled it, and I put it on my tummy. I'm like trying to relax, breathing, something's playing on the TV to distract me, breathing, and all of a sudden I just hear a burst, and I jump up and I scream. Lord have mercy, did the water bottle not burst and boiling hot water on my thigh, right? Now at this point I just think, you know, I dodged it, like, because I got up so quick and like pushed the bottle away, and I look down. Do I not see my skin on my thigh hanging off of me? And I just see flesh and just like my outer skin hanging. I was like, Jerry, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, look, look, look. And Jerry being Jerry goes into like fixing mode. Let's fix this. What do we do? Oh my God, let's run water over it, you know, all of that. And I'm like, really? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm in so much pain. Now I've burnt myself. What the hell do we do? Now my main concern is like, okay, I have a burn and I have a child in me. I do not want anything bad to happen to her because of this burn. So we were like, what do we do? And then Jerry's like, we have to call them. So we call the hospital and we explained the situation, and she was like, oh, how big is the burn? You know, all of that. She's like, okay, maybe do come in so we can look at the burn and then we'll assess you from there. Cool, we go in. I'll put pictures of the burn on the screen because it was pretty bad. So trigger warning for anyone who doesn't like that type of imagery, but I'll put it up on the screen. So I get to the hospital, you know, they check me in, do all of those things. They look at the burn, they're like, girl, you did a number on yourself. They temporarily, you know, fix that. They just put a bandage over it because obviously the main priority was the baby. They're like, we'll deal with that after the baby's out. So we're at the hospital. We're not in the ward yet, the birthing ward. We're just like in some section of the hospital, and I'm gonna put up some footage.
Say hi. No, it's...
Of me. This, like, the way the contraction comes in is like your tummy tightens up, and like when it tightens up, you go like, it's just this rush of pain, and even though it doesn't last long, it hurts so much. So it feels like it's forever, even though it's probably lasting about 30 seconds, but it's the longest 30 seconds ever. And I'll show you, you'll see in the clip. Jerry took a few clips of me in the hospital.
Okay.
Anyway, they're like, okay, let's just see how far dilated you are, because if you're not that far, we're gonna unfortunately have to send you home until, you know, you get to where we want you to be. I was like, all right. They checked my cervix. Now, one thing I was not prepared for. You know, we all think about, okay, you know, labor, painful, whatever. But no one, I didn't hear this before I went through it myself. To check your cervix, the midwife puts their fingers into your vagina. And it's not like a little, it's like, and I'm there like, this is pre-meds, pre any pain pills, pre any nothing, you know. I'm like, wow, this kind of, you know, this is uncomfortable, you know. And then like, she checks my cervix. I was not prepared for that. Like, that was also not pleasant. She checks my cervix and she's like, oh, you're 5 centimeters dilated, so you can stay. I was like, oh, thank God. I did not want to go back home because I just wanted to get the show on the road.
Breathe, honey.
Okay. 5 centimeters. Babe, I went 5 centimeters. Oh my God.
So we're staying the night.
I'm in one of the hospital rooms and, you know, contractions are going. They're coming in every like minute. Every minute they're coming in and they last about 30 seconds. And I'm like, Jerry, this, what is going on? And I'm nowhere near like, you know, being able to push. I'm like, baby, I'm in so much pain. And like, he's there trying to support him. God bless his soul. He was like, you know, because he was the only one there. I didn't have my mom or, you know, my sister, nobody. And he was there, like, just, you know, holding my hand, you know, making sure I was comfortable, you know, just being a support person, right? Our friends came to the hospital, and later on, after, you know, I gave birth and everything, our friends came to the hospital to drop off food, and they said, Lorraine, because Jerry went downstairs to go get the food, they're like, Lorraine, we've never seen Jerry so scared. Like, he looked like white, like he was so scared. And they gave him words of encouragement. They're like, you need to be there for Lorraine. You can't show her that you're scared. You need to, like, be strong for Lorraine, you know, all of those things. I didn't know that. I found that out later. But obviously I know my man. Like, I know he's probably so scared for me, but he's putting on a really brave face. The midwives come in, ask me a few questions, and then I'm like, so pain relief? At this point I had nothing. And I'm like, pain relief. But mind you, I went into the hospital saying I'm gonna give it my all to go natural, right? And the most I'll do is the gas. They give you like a gas, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a gas that you suck on, and then every time you have a contraction you breathe in the gas, and then so it pretty much helps you focus on your breathing, but also it has some effects, but it doesn't take away your pain. It doesn't take away your pain. I feel like it just gets you high, if you ask me. You just get all loopy, and also it's something to focus on because you're breathing it in, you're taking long puffs. I'll put up a video of me doing it. I feel like I'm not illustrating it properly, but I'll put up a video of me sucking on the gas. Anyway, and she's like, okay, cool, I'll bring in the gas. They tell me about the gas, tell me how to use it.
I haven't been high in so long.
How are you feeling after gas?
It feels weird.
Yeah.
I haven't taken that much though. It feels weird. I should like take it when I feel it coming.
Yeah.
Fast forward, it's been a few hours, another midwife comes in and checks in on me. Now, mind you, I'm getting checked in on different midwives depending on their shifts. She comes in, you know, talks to me, very lovely, and she's like, have you gotten in the shower? I'm like, no. She's like, I think it might help. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm in so much pain, girl. I even like asked her about an epidural, and she was like, are you sure? Maybe get in the shower and see how you go. We get into the shower. Oh wait, they moved my room. They moved me to a different room, which is going to be the room where I was going to give birth. They moved me into that room. It was so lovely. It was very dim lights, and there was like, I think there was a fairy light, and it was like a humidifier in there, and there was like this lovely little slow music going that would like get you into like a really relaxed mood. So they set it up really lovely, so good. The hospital I gave birth at was really amazing. Royal Women's. I'll speak about that later. I get into the room and they're like, okay, pop you into the shower. Now, mind you, when I get into the shower, so Jerry's still in the other room getting our stuff. So they put me in the shower by myself, and I get in there. I'm like, okay, we're gonna only be in here for about 20 minutes, and maybe it'll be time to push. I mean, I don't know, who knows? Because I mean, I've been going through it for a while now, so surely it's time to push. And you know, you hear stories about other women that are like, oh, I was there for 5 hours and I pushed, or I was there, you know, and you're thinking, you know, you might be that lucky, be there for like, I was already there for about 10 hours, 8 hours, I don't know how long. Anyway, so I was like, maybe it's time for me to push soon. So we get into the shower. I think I was butt-ass naked. I was butt-ass naked in the shower. Jerry comes in, drops off our stuff, and he comes in. So I didn't know this, but he's thinking in his head, okay, we're just gonna only be in here for a few minutes as well. He's thinking the same thing I am. Were we not in there for hours? I don't know how many hours, but we were in there for hours. Well, it felt like hours, but we were in there for a really long time. It was not 20 minutes. And boy, when I say Jerry held it down, he held it down. Yo, the man held me. Like, there were times where I was just limp, like I was limp in pain, and my whole body weight was just on him, and he held me in like water, wet water. He has his clothes on, so he's getting wet, so he's like holding me, and it's probably cold for him, and I'm just like, I am screaming my head off. There are 2 midwives in the shower with me, you know, encouraging me, you know, doing all these things, checking my blood pressure, you know, saying really lovely positive things. I am screaming my lungs. I am screaming, and I'm like, I can't help it. Like, I really hope this isn't crazy, and I'm sure they've seen it all. But you know, because you haven't done this before, you're like, freak, I feel like I'm being crazy. But I was screaming like my lungs out, and I remember shouting at one point. I was like, nothing can ever prepare you for this. And the midwife found that so funny. She laughed. She was like, yeah, no breathing exercises, no birthing classes. And I'm like, yeah, nothing. I was like, because like, you know, you hear people describe the pain and you're like, oh, it's painful. And then like, obviously you hear about all these practices. You can do breathing exercises, you can do yoga before and it'll help, you can do squats, you can do this and it'll help in labor. You can drink raspberry leaf tea, you can, what was I drinking? Okra water. I was drinking okra water. And I'm sure those things help, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Child, I don't think it did much. I'm sure they helped at some level, but I was still feeling it, girl. Anyway, let's get back to the story. And I was like, oh my God. And they're like, you can do this, you can do this. And I remember it had been so long we were in the shower for, and I looked up at Jerry. I was like, baby. And like, mind you, during this time, they were also trying to put a drip in me. Did it not take forever for the first midwife to find my vein? And then they had to call in a doctor to find my vein. So I'm there and they pricking me with a needle. God bless them, it's not their fault, but pricking me with a needle and I'm bleeding, and then they're trying to find. I'm like, I look at Jerry and I remember he was holding me up like this, and I'm like, I'm so tired, baby. And he looked at me, oh, God bless Jerry. He looked at me, he was like, I know baby, you're gonna get to rest soon. Don't worry, you're gonna get to rest. Don't worry, baby, you got this. This goes on for I don't know how much longer. I even remember at one point I looked at the midwife and I was like, how long do I have to wait? When is it? Because I was also getting the urge to push. Like, and to describe the urge to push is like you need a poop. Like a poop is coming out and you want to poop, but like it's your vagina. So I was like, when? And she's like, I'm sorry, we can't tell now. Like I don't have an answer for you pretty much. Anyway, what happened? I asked for the epidural. I remember this. I was like, epidural? And they're like, are you sure? You've already gone so long. No, they didn't say, are you sure? They were just like, they just asked me what was my initial plan. And, you know, I described to them whatever, but I was like, I'm so tired. I am in so much pain. You know, I want the epidural. And I think they have some sort of procedure. So before they gave me the epidural, they spoke to me about morphine. And I was like, okay, morphine, what does it do? Is it going to take this pain away? Because I'm not trying to play. I just want, I'm done, you know. I was just done. And they were like, okay, yeah, the morphine. They explained to me what it does. They give it to me. I'm still in pain. So now I'm on the bed. They've taken me out of the shower. I'm dry now. I'm on the bed. But I'm not on the bed on my back. I'm on all fours on the bed. And I'm like, they're like, oh, this position might help. I'm on all fours and I'm like, dog, I am still in so much pain. How long does it take for the morphine to kick in? They're like, 10, 15 minutes. I was like, okay, giving it time. The time passes. I'm like, sorry, it should have kicked in by now, right? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, babes, I am still in so much pain. Epidural. Okay, and they're like, okay, epidural. We'll give it to you. We just need to go call the anesthesiologist. Some time passes. The anesthesiologist comes in, starts talking to me. They've already educated me on epidural and getting one, but obviously he came in, did the same thing. And the few things I do remember is that he told me I needed to stay absolutely still because it's by my spine where the needle goes in, and I need to be absolutely still so obviously they don't hurt me. And I know some women have side effects like their back hurts after getting an epidural. So that was one of the things like I kept up here. Stay perfectly still. Now mind you, I'm supposed to stay perfectly still while I'm having painful ass contractions. But I was like, I need this thing. I want it, you know. And anyway, and another thing they told me was that obviously because you have an epidural, it numbs you from like your waist down. And that means you can't go to the toilet anymore. You can't pee anymore. And that means you need to get a catheter. Now, for those that don't know what a catheter is, I think it's a tube that goes into your urethra. Now, I knew this before coming into the hospital to give birth, and I was so petrified about it because I'm like, a tube in my what? I used what? Anyway, but at that point, I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. We're here. Let's just get the full experience, right? I asked, I'm like, is putting in the catheter, like, is it gonna hurt? And they're like, no, you'll just feel just a bit of pressure. I was like, okay, I can take pressure at this point. I can take it. So Jerry is in front of me. Now, mind you, I didn't mention this. Jerry is very squeamish. He's petrified of needles, and gets very squeamish and faint at the sight of blood and needles. So he's in front of me, holding me, right? And the anesthesiologist repeats again, stay perfectly still. And when you have a contraction, let me know. So I'm like this on the bed, on the side of bed. Jerry's holding me. Jerry, now, I didn't know this because obviously I can't see what's happening behind me. Jerry says the needle is so big. I don't know if it's actual needle or the syringe or whatever, but he's like, Lorraine, it was so big, I didn't even want to look. I just like was like focusing on you. I was like, oh my God, thank God I couldn't see because, well, perfectly still, I am not moving. And I'm getting a contraction and I'm like, okay, so I'm having a contraction. And he's like, I don't know what he's doing. Okay. Fast forward, epidural is in and
Oh my God! Wow!
peace. I was just like, this is amazing. What? Now that's after what? 15 hours of like pure carnage and pure pain. I was like, what? Why couldn't I get this earlier? Like, I felt so good. Like, it literally took the pain away completely. And they give you a little dial-up thing to like add to it every 30 minutes or an hour. That was great. And you just press it and then it just re-ups. So good. So good. I loved it. Yeah, and then from then on, it was just a waiting game. It was just a waiting game. You need to be, I think you need to be, no, you need to be 10 centimeters dilated before you can start pushing. And it was, I think I am not sure, but I think she said you move 1 centimeter every 4 hours. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I was a bit delirious when she was saying this. I was 9 centimeters dilated and I stayed like that for a while. So they brought in the doctor and they were like, okay, it's been a while, we'll wait, we'll monitor you for a little bit and then we'll come back. A while went and I was still at 9 centimeters and the doctor came in and spoke to me about an emergency C-section. Now, this was a very intense moment in the room I was in because I had mentally prepared myself to push. I had mentally prepared myself to deliver ICO vaginally, right? But now, like, she's telling me about an emergency C-section, so I start to get a little unsettled and a little anxious, and I'm looking at Jerry, I'm like, oh my God, what? I have to do surgery now? Anyway, they're telling me the options, they're telling me the pros and cons, and I'm asking my questions and stuff, and then it gets to the side effects. She reads all the side effects, and, you know, obviously she needs to tell me that death is one of them, and I'm just like, they're like, sheesh, this is a lot, but you know what, I trust you guys. And you have to sign, you literally have to give your consent to sign it away, and there we were. They came and brought the paperwork in, signed it, and I guess I was having a C-section, and I look at Jerry, I'm like, everything's gonna be all right. And he's like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We also thought about this as well, so it should be fine. Cool. They wheel me, and we are headed to the theater. And we get to the theater, and the doctor comes to me, and she explains to me that there is a chance that before we can start like operating, you might be 10 centimeters dilated, and you can just start pushing. I was like, okay, fingers crossed for that. They prep me, we get into the theater. I'm like, oh my God, Jerry's in, like, I'll put up the pictures and stuff so you guys can see. Oh my God. And then we get there. Now, I forgot to mention that once it was confirmed that I was having a C-section, they brought the anesthesiologist in again to top up my epidural and also give me something stronger to completely numb me, like completely numb me, like completely, like it was insane. It was like a top up, but also like they gave me something stronger. So when I say I didn't feel a thing, I didn't feel a thing. So we get to the theater and they checked me, and guess what? I'm 10 centimeters dilated. I was like, phew. But also it was like also just so intense because like I was gonna push vaginally, then I was gonna have a C-section, but now I'm back to pushing vaginally. So now I'm like, I'm just nervous, and then I look at the midwives, I'm like, it's gonna be okay, and they're like, yeah, it's gonna be fine, you got this, you know.
You listen to me, okay? We're gonna do it together.
Yeah.
This is gonna do it. Okay, just good. But I'm gonna be here, coaching you the whole way. Okay. Alright. We're just getting those legs up into a good position. Sorry, do you have video on?
I'm like, I can't feel anything, so that means I can't feel contraction in order to indicate to me that it's time to push. So they have to read the monitors and tell me when to push, and they tell me when you're pushing, make it seem like you're pooping, right? And I remember I asked the question before everything, while we were in the theater. I was like, because I can't feel anything, does that mean I'm gonna, one, get an episiotomy? And are you gonna have to, am I gonna have to have an assisted birth? An assisted birth can comprise of them using forceps, a vacuum, I think it's called a vacuum, and other procedures and systems. So the doctor was like, yeah, because you've had an epidural, obviously you're numb, you're gonna have an assisted birth. So I had to just, and I initially did not want that, but you know, I had to just adapt to the situation, what was going on. So I had to have an episiotomy. I'll put up on the screen what an episiotomy is for those that don't know. And yeah, I start pushing like I'm pooping. Pushing, and they're like, she's crowning. They're like, Daddy, do you want to feel that? Jerry was like, like Jerry feels like. And then I felt it, and it just like felt the wet hair. I was like, whoa. Start pushing again. And then they popped her up. I just remember them putting her up in the sky. And I looked, and they plonked her on my chest. I'm like, she looks exactly like Jerry's mom. And I was like, it was so surreal. It was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was such a surreal, magical, crazy, emotional moment, but also an out-of-body experience as well, because you're just like, whoa, like a human just came out of me and now they're on my chest. But you like, one thing I remember saying to myself, I just said, soak up this moment, just soak it all up, soak it up, you know, embrace her, kiss her, you know, look at, just, you know, embrace it, right? Madness. And then they got Jerry to cut the umbilical cord. He had no choice in that one. Like, it happened so fast, way too fast for him to even realize it was happening, or for him to have enough time to say no. But yeah, he cut the umbilical cord. Yeah, crazy. And then while I was lying there, the doctors were sewing me up. You know, so I got an episiotomy, but I also got a 3rd-degree tear as well. So they're stitching me up, excuse me, you know, making sure I'm all good. While I think Jerry went with Aiko to go get a vitamin K shot and something else. I can't remember what it was. Mad moment. I'm like thinking back, and it was, yeah, crazy. When they wheeled me into the recovery room, I was there, I had her, my little angel. Jerry was there, and we're like, wow, we're parents. And I kept looking at her because it was just, it's crazy. It's still crazy now. And I'm like, Jerry, she looks exactly like your mom. You know, like, this is crazy. And she looked nothing like me. Like, she still looks nothing like me. I think she has my nose, but that's about it. Really blessed and grateful for how well everything went, and she's okay, she's healthy, she's, you know, amazing. And my experience, like, it's so crazy because, you know, I know as a Black woman, our pain is not believed. And, you know, you hear a lot of stories about Black women whose pain is, you know, not taken seriously when they're in the hospital, or, you know, they don't really have good experiences with doctors. And I was very well aware of that going in, and I was quite concerned about it. But my experience was quite the opposite. I was really lucky that I had amazing midwives that surrounded me. I had an amazing experience at Royal Women's Hospital. Like, everyone was so lovely and attentive and caring and making sure I was okay, notified me of resources, educated us as best they could in the time frame. I was comfortable. I felt heard. They answered any questions I had, and they didn't seem annoyed that I was asking questions. You know, they were just there, you know, in a very lovely, supportive capacity and very professional capacity. So I'm thankful for that. So that was really a really good experience. That also added to the experience as well. So This is what I also wanted to mention. So you remember the catheter that I mentioned before? Now, at some point it needs to come out once, you know, the epidural. So once your epidural wears off, it's recommended that you get up and start moving your legs, you know, to get back into the groove of things. So that means I don't need the catheter anymore. And I remember the nurse coming in, the midwife coming in to tell me, and I looked at her, I'm like, is this gonna hurt? And she looked at me, she was like, no. I feel like she was just like, you just gave birth, like what? Anyway, and she's like, no, it's not gonna hurt, just maybe a little bit of pressure. I remember holding on to like my bed, my hospital bed, and then she pulled it out and I was like, oh, not so bad. That wasn't so bad. So yeah, stayed there for a few days, left, went home with baby girl, and this is my life now. I'm a mom. And madness. But that was my 2022. Life-changing year I had, and I am so excited for 2023. I'm excited to be back in my YouTube girl era, you know, and I'm excited to create more. I'm excited to watch my baby girl grow and see her personality. I am excited for the new journey ahead of me, the new adventures, you know, ups and downs. May God be with me through all of it, you know. And yeah, that's my birth story. I hope I didn't forget anything. I don't think I did. But anyway, would you guys be interested if I did a Q&A type of situation? I can do it on my Instagram, or guys can ask me all the questions you have down below and I can respond in my next video. But yeah, that's me. Laws of mom now. Happy New Year, guys. It's going to be great. I'm wishing each and every one of you guys a prosperous, beautiful, joyous, blessed, and abundantly beautiful New Year. Thank you for watching.